My Hero Academia chapter 423 titled One for All versus All for One has dropped, giving us the ending of the fight between Deku versus All for One. Now I know some were left a little unsatisfied with its ending given that Deku is still left quirkless, but that's why we will be breaking down the chapter, the ending of the chapter, and explaining why Izuku Midoriya being left quirkless actually brings the entire series full circle. So the chapter begins with Deku landing a punch directly to Shigaraki's chest. All for One, in control of Shigaraki's body, states that regeneration wasn't healing his body. This is of course because in chapter 419, when All for One took over Shigaraki's body, it was revealed that the spiritual damage done by Deku transferring all of One for All took a toll on his body, ruining Shigaraki as a vessel. So All for One's body is in such bad shape that regeneration won't heal him. It also didn't help that the hostility All for One received by the heroes made Danger Sense go wild, hiding the presence of Deku from him. Deku recalls back to chapter 2 where All Might had stated that One for All, when given to a weak body, will make that person's body explode from the power cultivated by its previous users. Deku tells All for One that he received the power cultivated by 9 users. That's when All for One's body begins to crumble, but All for One uses various quirks to keep himself together, trying to desperately keep his dream alive, as he states that all he needs to do is to start over again like he did with Shigaraki. He heads towards Deku to transfer All for One to him, but Kurogiri opens a portal between All for One and Deku, as he himself is trying to protect Shigaraki, wanting All for One to give Shigaraki back so he can be with the League. His actions begins to make him disappear, seemingly ending the life of Shirakumo. And at the last second, Bakugo shows up using an explosion from his mouth, similar to what Deku had done during the Paranormal Liberation War arc, with his Black Whip Froppy style. Bakugo's explosion disrupts and closes Kurogiri's portal, as well as propels Deku forward to finish off All for One. Deku, while knowing he could never forgive All for One for what he's done, understands that All for One deep down at his core is just a very lonely man. As they clash, the vestige of All for One sees a flame. The flame reveals that Deku's last punch had transferred the last remaining ember of One for All, that being the last fragment of Yoichi, the quirk itself. All for One tells Yoichi that he wants to see Yoichi, and Yoichi states that he failed All for One in the past, but now Izuku will finally let them both rest. All for One desperately tells Yoichi that he won't allow it, as he needs Yoichi by his side, but Yoichi tells All for One that he must pay for his crimes, as we see Shigaraki and all of the users of One for All come out of the shadows behind All for One. Deku, Shigaraki, and the users of One for All punch the vestige of All for One, destroying him once and for all. Deku and Shigaraki's fist comes together, and Shigaraki tells him that Nana Shimura's vestige connected with him, preventing him from disappearing in chapter 419. He continues by stating that he never really destroyed anything, and that Izuku was right about him just being a crying boy deep inside. Deku tells Shigaraki that he continued to fight because he couldn't forgive what Shigaraki had done, but he also wanted him to stop. He wanted the sadness to be over. Shigaraki then leaves Deku with a final message for Spinner, telling Spinner that Tomura Shigaraki fought to destroy until the very end. Deku tells Shigaraki that he destroyed what he really needed to, referring to All for One and the sadness that consumed him. The chapter ends with Deku going back to the real world, revealing that Shigaraki had been completely destroyed, having turned into dust, with the rain finally clearing up as the sun shines bright on our hero. This chapter was honestly amazing, and personally, I feel it wrapped up everything with Deku, Shigaraki, All for One, and One for All perfectly. All for One was given his final moments with Yoichi that many fans wanted, and as he truly tells Yoichi that he loves him, in a sick and twisted way, All for One's love for Yoichi couldn't go through with his plans without him, as he wanted to rule the world with his brother by his side. In no way is All for One forgiven for his crimes, or has a change of heart that makes his character redeemable in any way. He's still a villain till the very end. That makes you want to see him lose. With the ongoing war between One for All and All for One finally put to an end by both All for One's and One for All's successors. Shigaraki, while not being forgiven for his actions, is understood as a victim. His final moments in the chapter was never meant to wrap up his character in any way. It's meant as a final goodbye to him and the sadness he represented from Hero Society, as his character was already very well wrapped up in chapter 418 when he stated that he was a hero for the villains, the ones rejected by that very same hero society. Deku fully sacrificing One for All brings the entire series full circle, as it answers the question from the beginning that yes, you can become a hero without a quirk. While ironic in the sense that in order for Deku to answer this question for himself, he needed a quirk to begin with, but his sacrifice of his quirks meant a great deal to him, as he knew he could no longer be a hero without them, bringing it all back full circle as he ends where he originally started in the series, quirkless. Deku had always sought out this answer from others his whole life, and he was able to finally answer that question for himself. Deku has officially become the greatest hero and was able to do it quirkless in this final battle. While personally I felt this chapter really gave me everything I wanted from it, and I guess that could be due to the fact that I kind of predicted the ending throughout my many theories on this arc, I won't lie and say that I'm not sad that Deku doesn't have a quirk anymore. But we still have the aftermath of the all-out war to go through, so My Hero Academia isn't over just yet. And who knows, maybe Deku has a little surprise waiting for him after his last conversation with Shigaraki. They did touch each other's hands after defeating All for One, so maybe Shigaraki gave Deku something as a parting gift, or maybe Deku will go forward as a quirkless hero. Let me know in the comment section below your thoughts on chapter 423. Was it a satisfying ending for you? Let me know your thoughts on the chapter in the comment section below. If you enjoyed the video, then be sure to Detroit smash that like button down below, share the video with your friends, and if you're new to the Kitaroki channel, be sure to subscribe for more My Hero Academia content. With that said, I'll see you all in the next one.